Hi, I'm David Petersen, creator of MouseGuard, here with another MouseGuard architectural model. This time, it's the Matriarch's Chamber. This is a model that's made out of cardboard and chipboard and basswood and glue. As you can see, I made it modular, but I want to talk a little bit about the design of the room and what I used it for in the story before I talk about the construction techniques. The Matriarch Chamber is a room that's off of the main matriarch office. This is a room that's private only to the matriarch. It's full of secret information that every matriarch before her has stored in this room. And I wanted it to be something that was full of myth and legend and history. Now, when I started, I knew that I already had the matriarch's office model and I had it established in the comics, and I needed it to be accessible, the chamber to be accessible from the office, the more private room, or the more public room. And there was a hallway going off of the matriarch's office, so I took a top-down photo of that model and then started laying out like a digital floor plan. Where would the matriarch's chamber be in relation to that hallway? Now I had a issue, which was that I already knew what the exterior of Lockhaven looked like, and I knew where that window in the matriarch's office was, and there wasn't really room for a chamber exactly where I wanted it. So I had to come up with some creative decisions. Once I knew where I was putting the office, after I had done that digital top-down floor plan, I started constructing the pieces. Now, to do that, I had to come up with a look for what these arches and windows would look like. Again, I went digital. I came up with one arch pattern in Photoshop and then repeated it over and over. Same for the drawers and all the little details. Also, I did the same for the tile floor plan. I was able to insert photos of bookshelves and drop in the stained glass patterns as well to be able to figure out what a whole wall would look like. And by just doing one and then repeating it, I could print out an entire sheet of them and then glue them onto the cardboard. The shape of the floor to the wall, which is just corrugated cardboard, is glued together with hot melt glue. I added some wooden details in the trussing of the ceiling, and a little bit of reinforcement on the back with some basswood on the back side of the model. And some of that was for a purpose that I'll describe later as well. To make this whole thing modular this way, instead of building a solid room out of a box, it allows me to be able to come up with specific setups. I can even take a digital photo of it. I can get my eye. I can start scoping out what the camera angle should be for certain panels, what effect I'm trying to get. And by having all this versatility, it just allows me to really get into this space, to be able to draw it more accurately, to be able to frame up my shots so that I know exactly the right kind of look, how I'm going to be able to fit all the characters and the word balloons in a specific panel and still pay homage to the room. Or if there's a detail in the room, make sure that that's going to be visible as well. Now I want to talk a little bit more about these stained glass pieces. I cut out the cardboard so that I could recess them, but the stained glass pieces themselves were inspired by stained glass windows of saints in Christ Church in Dublin. My wife and I went for a vacation there, and I really liked in the baptistry there were all these images of saints showing whatever they were known for as being the patron saint of, kind of factored into the design of the stained glass. I thought it'd be interesting to do that with the matriarchs. Of course, I needed to come up with a whole bunch of matriarchs to fill up the room. Some of them I was able to go into the legends of MouseGuard and pick out specific characters. One was Jeremy Bastian's character Faroon, who was from his Legends of the Guard story. Jeremy came up with this wonderful story about what could have been the origin of the mouse guard, and that Faroon was the first mouse to ever give cloaks to a guard mouse. And I really liked her design and that aspect of her. So I put her front and center in the Matriarch's chamber, right behind the podium. Another Legends of the Guard character that made it into the Matriarch's chamber was Moira, from Mark Smiley's Legend story. She was a warrior mouse who avenged her lover when the king ordered him killed. I also have later decided that because Moira is now a matriarch, having been featured on the stained glass, that she became the subject of my 2017 Square limited edition print. For some of the other matriarchs, I went with characters that are maybe referenced in Mouse Guard but have never been seen. Allison is one of those characters. She's referenced several times in the Mouse Guard RPG. I can't remember if she's referenced in the books or not. I guess I'll rely on you in the comments section to correct me on that. But in the RPG, she's credited as the one for putting in the "it matters not what you fight, but what you fight for" over the top of the door in the Matriarch's office. Laria is mentioned as being the fourth Guard Matriarch in both the intro pages to Fall and in one of the cover legends of Legends of the Guard Volume 1, where a librarian named Gregor is confronted by a ghost asking who the first Guard Matriarch ever was. Siobhan is another character that's mentioned in the RPG. She has a quote about healing. "Our fur and bone are the vessels which hold our potential deeds, actions, and goodwill. Care well for the container, and you preserve its contents." Having these matriarchs as stained glass windows as a point of reference has then later inspired me to include them in other images. Reyna is a character that's a matriarch known for her gift of song and music. She is one that I decided to make into the feature of my Monsters and Dames piece for the Emerald City Comic Con a few years back. When creating the other matriarchs for the stained glass windows, some of them were just based on specific kind of deeds that a matriarch could do to become well known and beloved in the history of the Mouse Guard, whether it's architectural developments or stargazing or map making. One of those I thought would be feeding, cooking, and providing nourishment for those who need it. So I created a window for a mouse named Doris, and she's based on my paternal grandmother. I wanted to take note here that it was the strength of character along with the gentle soul of Doris Petersen that actually inspired me to make the Mouse Guard ruled by women, by a chain of matriarchs. She is the strong woman that influenced that decision for me. Now, how to light these windows became a dilemma that I had to figure out. I mentioned earlier that because of its position in reference to Gwendolyn's office and what I knew the exterior of Lockhaven looked like, none of these windows are featured on the exterior drawings of Lockhaven. On top of that, there's stained glass windows all the way around the 8 walls of the room, and there's no way to get natural light all the way around those. So the way I came up with a solution was to start designing a gap behind all of the windows, behind this wall, that would be able to hold a trough. I showed that in the cutaway of the Black Axe extras section, where there could be a trough that would be filled with lamp oil and could be lit before the matriarch enters for her meditation, for her reference and learning. That then all of the matriarchs are kind of subtly by firelight, by lamplight, flickering and glowing and giving that beautiful look of stained glass when it's illuminated. I want to thank you for watching this video. This is a model that seems very complicated because of all the visual detail, but I assure you when you look at the individual components, they are L-shaped cardboard with a few little details added on. Most of the design to making this and making this work was in the concept, was in the conceptual design of the room, not the actual construction of spraying glue onto cardboard, adhering paper onto it, trimming up edges, and using hot melt glue so that everything stood up straight. So this is another of the Mouse Guard models. I hope you enjoyed watching, and thank you.